I get it, there's a ton of big-screen, interactive displays out there that look stunning on a product page, but when you finally mount one in the office or classroom, they end up feeling like a pricey paperweight. I've spent the last few weeks watching how schools, design firms, and remote learning teams actually set up and use these panels, and I keep hearing the same hesitation. What if I spend a good chunk of budget and the thing doesn't play well with the tools we already use? That's why I wanted to walk through the ViewSonic IFP8650 86-inch ViewBoard before anyone clicks Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the size alone makes the IFP8650 a conversation starter. An 86-inch 4K Ultra HD panel fills a typical conference room wall and gives you enough real estate that you can split the screen between a spreadsheet, a video call, and a live annotation without squinting. The 3840x2160 resolution holds up when you pull up a high-detail CAD drawing or a marketing mock-up. Nothing looks pixelated, even when you zoom in. That's a real win for teams that need to review fine visual details together. The 20-point multi-touch claim isn't just marketing fluff. In my test setup with 3 colleagues, each of us could grab a corner of the screen and start drawing at the same time. The built-in MyViewBoard software recognized each finger as a separate input, so we could assign different colors to each participant and keep our notes clearly separated. In a classroom scenario, that translates to a teacher being able to let 4 students solve a math problem on the board simultaneously, and the software will keep each student's work distinct. That collaborative freedom is exactly why many schools are moving away from single-point touch panels. One of the biggest practical concerns people have is whether the display will act like a computer or just a glorified monitor. The IFP8650 comes with a quad-core processor built into the chassis, so it can run the ViewBoard operating system, launch Android apps, and even stream a web browser without needing a separate PC. For a small startup that doesn't want to cable a full workstation to the wall, that's a genuine convenience. You can pull up a Google Slides deck, start a Zoom meeting, and annotate on the fly all from the same device. The downside is that the processor isn't a high-end Intel i5 or i7, so you'll feel a slight lag if you try to run a heavy video editing suite directly on the screen. In practice, most users will keep the heavy lifting on a separate computer and treat the ViewBoard as the front end for collaboration, which sidesteps the limitation. Audio is another area where the IFP8650 tries to be a one-stop shop. The 45-watt stereo soundbar is built into the back of the panel, and in a medium-sized meeting room it fills the space with clear speech and decent bass for short videos. I tested it with a 30-minute webinar, and the voice stayed intelligible even at the back of the room. If you're planning a large lecture hall or an open-plan office where ambient noise is high, you'll probably want a supplemental speaker system, but for most boardrooms the integrated soundbar is more than enough. Connectivity is where the IFP8650 shows its flexibility. It offers 2 HDMI ports, a DisplayPort, USB-C, and a handful of USB-A slots for plugging in a mouse, a wireless dongle, or a USB flash drive with a presentation. The inclusion of ViewBoard Cast lets you mirror a laptop or a mobile device with just a QR code, no need to fumble with cables. In my office, I was able to switch from a Windows laptop to an iPad mid-meeting without any noticeable delay. The only hiccup I noticed was that the HDMI ports are placed near the bottom edge, so you have to manage cable length carefully if the display is wall-mounted with a shallow recess. Now, who should actually consider spending on this 86-inch monster? If you run a design studio where teams need to review high-resolution graphics together, the 4K panel and multi-touch capabilities will shave minutes off every feedback loop. Universities that have hybrid classes will appreciate the built-in processor and annotation software because it reduces the number of devices a professor has to juggle. Mid-size corporate boards, around 812 people, that hold weekly strategy sessions also get value from the large screen real estate and the ability to annotate PDFs, spreadsheets, and live data dashboards without a separate laptop. On the flip side, if you're a solo freelancer who mainly needs a second monitor for coding or video editing, you'll likely be overpaying for the extra size and touch features you'll never use. Small conference rooms that seat fewer than 5 people might feel cramped by the sheer footprint of an 86-inch unit, and the mounting hardware can be a bit of a project if the wall isn't reinforced. Also, Any organization that already has a robust AV ecosystem, dedicated sound system, external PCs, and a separate whiteboard solution may find the integrated processor and soundbar redundant, meaning you're paying for capabilities you'll never touch.